So, bank holiday fever's apparently struck Halifax because, for one reason or another, we've not got a pundit this week, which means I've got the ever so slightly daunting task of running through this weekend's racing for you. I'm going to pretend that I'm a pundit in Timeform land and look at this weekend's racing. And it's a good weekend as well, actually. We've got some really good racing coming up. At Haydock Park, we've got the Temple Stakes and the Sandy Lane Stakes. And then, of course, it's Guineas weekend over in Ireland as well. So we'll start at Haydock Park. I'll try and blast through these as quickly as possible. And the Sandy Lane Stakes, which of course became a Group 2 back in 2015, and it's been a really hot race so far. It's produced some really good winners, none more so than Harry Angel last season, who was really impressive when winning there. And it looks a hot renewal again this time around. There's plenty of interesting types in here, and Invincible Army is the one who is top on Timeform ratings, and he sets the standard on the back of his reappearance run when winning the Group 3 Pavilion Stakes at Ascot last time out. There's a few of these that have the vibe of being on an upward curve, and Invincible Army is one of those, but there's a few in opposition here that could cause him problems. James Garfield is one who I've got a bit of a soft spot for. He's a really likeable sort. He has got a few pounds to find on Timeform ratings, 3 with Invincible Army, and perhaps has been quite well placed in winning the races that he has, but he's got an impressive resume and is likely to give it his running, though was perhaps a little bit outclassed last time out. Barricaro is one who deserves a mention. He won the Richmond Stakes last season. Haven't seen him since, though, since that win at Glorious Goodwood. He's representing the Brian Meehan yard, are in form at the moment, and be interesting to see whether he's fully tuned up on reappearance. But the one who I think perhaps is the one who could improve past these is Sands of Marley. Is one of the very few, as I've said, who've given off vibes that they could be top class, and he really impressed me last time out. He's perhaps the best prospect of these, and there was a lot to like about his reappearance at Shanty. Won a Group 3 race, giving weight all round to that field with a penalty, and just get the feeling that he could be the one that goes on the upward curve. But it wouldn't surprise me if a few of these went on to bigger and better things. So Sands of Marley in the Sandy Lane Stakes. We'll jump on to the Temple Stakes, which I always think is a race that masquerades as a Group 1 race. It is a Group 2 contest, and it's headlined here by Battaash. Now, there is a in-depth preview on timeform.com written by a real shrewdie, so there'll be a full detail there if you want it. But Battaash is the one they've all got to beat. He's Timeform top rated here by quite a few pounds. He is 8 clear of catching our weight adjusted ratings, and quite simply is the one they've all got to beat. Is Timeform's joint highest European horse in training at the moment, with Cracksman on 136, and was rapidly progressive last season. Became a Group 1 horse, winning the Abbey really easily on his last start. A bit of a humble brag. I saw him that day. He was really impressive, won by 3 or 4 lengths, and even though he's giving weights all around here in a Group 2 contest, he's the one they've all got to beat. It is the most interesting thing about this race, though, is the pace angle, because a lot of these are going to want to make the running. 7 of the 11 have a 1 on their in-play symbols, which basically means that they're going to want to be prominent early on. Means there's going to be a frenetic pace here, and the two who are perhaps most likely to really go for it are Take Cover and Havana Grey. And knowing that Battaash is, of course, prominent, it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out. And the biggest threat on form is also one who likes to be prominent, Catchy. He's likely to be stalking them, and he's a real interesting character. Was perhaps a little bit difficult to train last season, had a tendency to veer left in his races, but was rejuvenated by the all-weather over the winter. Won a couple of good races at Lingford Park and then just fell short in all-weather finals day. But what's likeable about him was how he came back so well on turf at Chester. Absolutely hacked up that day. He's going to get conditions that suit him, so he's an interesting one. But it could be that because there's such a frenetic pace, it might be worth looking at Muthmere as an each-way angle. I can't oppose Battaash, but I think because he is a closer, it might set the race up for him here, because there's so many going to be wanting to make the pace. He's going to strip fitter for his reappearance, and generally runs his race at this level. He was an excellent 4th in what was a really hot renewal of the King's Stand Stakes last year, and at about 8 to 9 to 1 at the time of recording, he's probably the best bet in this as an each-way prospect. But I can't oppose Battaash, and if you want, looking for one at a price, I like Mrs. Gallagher. She's been really progressive so far, rapidly improving, won really well last time out, and is getting stacks and stacks of weight from the field. Going to get over a stone from Battaash, so Mrs. Gallagher's really interesting, about 20 to 1, but I'd probably go with Muthmere each way. So we'll go on to the Irish 2000 Guineas, and normally in this race Newmarket form plays a big part, but only two reoppose here from that race. Elarqam, the Frankel colt, who was 4th, and Gustav Klint, who was 6th, and they're probably the two to focus on. Gustav Klint is the one who's top on Timeform ratings, created a really big impression at 2, won that race at Goodwood despite everything going right at Newmarket, so despite everything going wrong for him that day, and does set the standard. Won a really hot trial and reappearance, beating US Navy flag, who we'll come on to next, but seemed to lack pace at a crucial stage at Newmarket last time in the 2000 Guineas, and it might be that one of these improves past him. Whereas US Navy flag, of course, won the Dewhurst last year. Worthy of a mention, was behind Gustav though in April, and he did take a step back in the right direction in the French Guineas last time out, but probably does need a little bit more. And I just think that Elarqam might improve past both of them. He was thrown in the deep end last time out in the Guineas on just his 3rd start, and ran a really cracking race to finish 4th there, despite still showing signs of greenness. He looks the most progressive in the field. I think he'll improve more for that, and a classic beckons here for the son of Frankel. So we'll go on to Sunday. There's Tattersalls Gold Cup, of course, Group 1 action. There's 2 Group 1 races. We'll start with this one, and mainly because it's a small field, it's not taken long to read up on it. There's 5 heading to post for this, and it looks a match race between Cliffs and Mower and Defoe, and they've got contrasting profiles here, because you've got Cliffs and Mower, who was very much an established Group 1 horse last season without winning one, came 2nd in the Derby, which was an excellent run, and then never really emulated that after, but all things considered, got back on the right track last time, winning a Group 2 at Naas, and is going to be a tough opposition for Defoe, who is very much on an upward curve at the moment, and was building up to a Group 1 last season before really not being himself in the St Leger. But this season, he's been a different proposition. 2 wins so far, Group 3 on his 1st start, Group 2 on his 2nd start, and everything points to him being the most progressive one in this race. He was a really good winner at the Group 2 last time out, and I just think that he is the one on the upward curve. He's the one to go with here. He's Timeform top rated. He's got a pound in hand of Cliffs and Mower. So it'd be interesting to see whether Defoe can take the step up to a Group 1 company, or whether he might have bumped into one in Cliffs and Mower. But it is Defoe for me in that one. And then finally, the Irish 1000 Guineas, the Fillies Classic. And again, Aidan O'Brien has a really strong hand in this, with 2, again, with contrasting profiles in that Happily is race fitness and Ryan Moore on board, and Clemieux is a brother to Churchill we haven't seen since last season. I'll start with Happily. She is the favourite at the moment, and as I say, has race fitness. She was a dual Group 1 winner at 2, and then you could probably draw a line through her Breeders' Cup win, and she was just short of that 2-year-old form in the 2000 Guineas. It'd be no surprise if she went a bit better than that this time and took this, but she is bred to get further, and the trip is perhaps a little bit on the short side these days, so I would be inclined to oppose Happily. Soliloquy is interesting, was an impressive winner of the Nell Glyn, of course, and ran 6th in the Guineas, but probably didn't benefit from the patient ride that day. I imagine there'll be a change of tactics with her. She's still open to improvement under an attacking ride she can feature, but I will go with Clemieux. She was, of course, the anti-post favourite for the Newmarket Guineas, but had to miss it through injury. She still looks open to improvement, and she's Timeform top rated as well. She won the Chieveley Park last year, and looks the most progressive in this field. And whilst the trainer has said that she will improve for the run, I think that she has got the best form and offer, and she's about 6-1 at the moment. It might be worth chancing that she is ready to go on reappearance, but there's a full preview on timeform.com. Go and have a look there, and hopefully there's a few pointers there for you.